Okay. This is part two.
Never uttered the threat, but the truth of the matter remains up in the air. Be that as it may, later actions by O'Connell that you'll soon learn of might have you drawn.
I mean, I saw enough evidence, at least with with respect to his character, this detective's character, that I believe it. You know what I mean?
Well,
straight up. I mean, he basically.
I don't, Hassan. Come on, like it's enough to determine that he's kind of a dick cop, right? But I don't think we actually have enough right now to determine that he was the actual killer. We don't have enough right there. But you're obviously the title on this guy that clipped you, Hassanabi Industries. Obviously, we have enough that we know that the detective is the killer, but we don't have enough information in this video yet to determine that he's the killer.
Said that to the other lady. I 100% believe it. Oh, I mean, obviously we know that he's the one who did it, right? But
we need the details.
Drawing your own conclusions. Omar also stated that during the days of April 8th through the 10th, when Heather was missing, he was residing at the Days Inn Hotel. At the time of Heather's murder, he claimed to have been visiting 3 separate bars in the Fremont area. However,
wait, the detective is not the one who did the crime?
It has also been reported that he was actually hiding at Kiona's apartment in an attempt to evade an arrest warrant.
Yeah.
Despite this, O'Connell was still extremely skeptical and supposedly insinuated that Omar could have still traveled from the various locations to commit the crime. Still, his focus shifted to his final suspect, 26-year-old Kayri. As a supposed friend of Omar's, Kayri was just as much on Detective O'Connell's radar, and he would do anything to prove their guilt. According to a source, Kayri was apparently seen throwing a suspicious black bag into a river on April 10th, 2015, presumably containing a firearm. O'Connell asserted that the supposed gun was used in a homicide, potentially Heather's, and quickly released a full dive team to recover the weapon. But to O'Connell's dismay, the search would prove to be unsuccessful.
Right.
Claiming that Kiona, Omar, and Kayri were likely the murderers.
Wait, does that mean that there was no gun?
No.
That they could recover?
Yeah, because there wasn't a gun.
Did they recover a gun and then they couldn't find information on the gun?
You just said there was no gun. It didn't happen. It was a false story by the detective who's trying to cover his ass. Come on, man.
Where's the bag?
Where's the bag?
There's no bag, no gun, no nothing?
The detective was still missing one important piece of information. The motive. Why would any of them want to hurt Heather, let alone kill her?
Right.
Let alone kill her in this gruesome and incredibly personal way.
You're right.
The fact that they, number one thing when you look at a murder like this, we're all murder watchers. We all are experienced murder watchers. The killer definitely knew this person.
Yes.
Unless there is a serial killer around, the 80s style, 70s style serial killer running around doing this kind of shit to other people as well, that is an incredibly personal murder. Scalping the person, shooting them in the back twice. There was clearly back and forth on top of that. There's defensive wounds.
Yeah.
It seems like this is a very personal murder.
Not even O'Connell could say, but suddenly, in the blink of an eye, another disappointment abruptly struck the desperate detective, and it would send the case in an entirely different direction.
Good. Let's go.
Underneath Heather's fingernails was a small amount of DNA. The results were shocking, concluding that neither Kiona, Omar, or Kayri had come back as a positive match. In an instant, their names were cleared. At least.
Big bummer for the detective. He's oh man, I tried to log up as many black people as I could.
Yes, but who did it match, Hassan? Who did it match?
Proximity to this car that this vehicle that we found with the body. And it really fucking destroyed my case, you know? Oh man, I hate it when that shit happens.
At least that's what should have happened. Instead, O'Connell stuck to
Oh
his
my
original
God!
claims, not stopping to even ponder the possibility that he might have been wrong.
What the fuck?
But his delusions would only lead him further away from the actual killer. This just goes to show how detectives can sometimes develop tunnel vision and narrow in on a suspect, while ignoring other possibilities.
Bro, this was like, what the fuck is going on? No, this is not narrowing in on a suspect, man. Did this guy do the murder himself? Like, I thought that was the case. Now chat's like debating me, saying that's not the case. I'm like a little confused about what's happening here. But like, this isn't just tunnel vision. This is a guy who's going extra hard
Yeah.
on like as many black people as he can. He's like, oh, there were black people in the vicinity of the car that we recovered the body from. So seems like, you know, seems like this case is open and shut.
Despite sufficient evidence, O'Connell had already spent a lot of time on the premise that Kiona, Omar, and Kayri were involved in Heather's death. He may have been afraid that if he admitted his mistake, he would look incompetent to both the public and to other members of law enforcement. In addition, he was likely experiencing a psychological principle known as confirmation bias. This means that people are more likely to accept information that supports what they already believe, and on the other hand, may discount information that doesn't align with those beliefs. With this in mind,
Or he could have been racist too. I mean, I just think like,
Well,
How quickly he jumped.
I mean, isn't that kind of like what confirmation bias is, though, Hassan? Like, that's just like the polite way of saying it these days. It's racism, it's bigotry, it's anti-Semitism, it's sexism, it's confirmation bias. That's like the new way of saying it, right? That's the way. That's the fucking way.
her is very weird.
just over a year later, Kiona is demanding answers.
I just want to know when y'all are going to tell her that I'm not involved in this and I can clear my.
She says, you know, that her DNA won't come back. It's at what point do we say?
What parent are you looking for to play with that I'm not disturbing?
For a year, the detective would supposedly harass Kiona, frequenting her place of work with additional officers.
Oh my god.
What?
At one point, he apparently gathered Kiona's co-workers for a meeting, although the subject of the matter has never been reported. It wouldn't be too long before the single mother found herself out of work while struggling to make ends meet. Every job interview for a new position was to no avail, and
What?
it seemed that O'Connell was never going to let her out of his grasp.
Oh my god.
These were likely acts of intimidation on O'Connell's part, which is a form of manipulation. He may have believed that he could scare Kiona into confessing, which would have been coercion. Yet, after securing a lawyer, Kiona was able to restrict her contact with the detective, but that wouldn't stop O'Connell from allegedly speaking with her acquaintances. In an interview with the Sandusky Register, Kiona recalled a time when she traveled to her local tattoo artist and was startled to learn that after she left the establishment, Detective O'Connell had allegedly made his way in to speak with the artist. Other accounts recall that
Bro, this guy was just like stalking her. Like, what the fuck? Okay, this isn't like police work. This is just like, I mean, bro, this, okay, the title is apt. The detective is a criminal, okay? Like, the detective is like, straight up, at this point, the detective is doing crimes. There's no more murder investigation. He's just like, yeah, I took matters into my own hands. Like, I'm just gonna harass the fuck out of this person.
the detective apparently had residents of the Somerton apartments act as informants for the investigation, hoping to gain more details on Kiona.
I'm not here to say that you did do it, and I'm not here to say that you didn't do it.
Okay, but I know for a fact that you guys have my DNA back and there's no matches. I know for a fact that you guys went through my phone record, there's no matches. I know for a fact that y'all been looking at my Facebook, there's nothing. I know that.
Kiona's suspicious Facebook posts, as previously described, had actually been in response to Julian's prison sentence. And not only this, but she had never been in possession of the Mickey Mouse shirt found on Heather.
Oh, wow.
Regardless of these revelations, the detective pressed on.
Yeah, it is what it is. If you're not involved, then you're not involved.
Okay, so when you gonna clear me though, because me and my kids
I
are
don't think we're comfortable to be able to say for sure that it's not you.
This reign of terror would eventually come crashing down.
Bro, I think the detective did it. I'm sorry. It's something. You know what he wasn't doing? Fucking police work. That's right. That's what he wasn't doing. What the fuck?
In an attempt to seek an indictment, O'Connell had written a report to the prosecution, but failed to include that the DNA found on Heather did not match any of the 3 suspects.
Okay, so who did
Along
it
with
match?
this, he refrained from giving all of his case files to the county prosecutor and dismissed every other lead, besides those relating to the trio. He even ignored a critical piece of information sent in an email by a Whirlpool.
By the way, that's illegal. That's part of discovery. Okay, let's see where this goes. But this is a fucked up story. That somebody like this can get away with the bullshit that he was doing to this poor woman. It's fucking it's fucking messed up. Oh my god, even. Alright, so this could happen to any of us, you guys.
Employee just 2 days after Heather was found.
And by the way, I don't know if you have any suspects, but I know someone who works at Whirlpool that is very capable of doing
It
that to a
read,
woman.
and by the way, I don't know if you have any suspects, but I know someone who works at Whirlpool that is very capable of doing that to a woman. This crucial lead would eventually become integral, but in his determination to convict Kiona, Omar, and Kayri, O'Connell did not even take it into consideration. However, this would not go unnoticed. Soon, O'Connell was caught giving a copy of the investigation report to an employee working for the Sandusky County Department of Job and Family Services, claiming that he wanted to gain their insight on a person of interest in the case. Once this was discovered by the sheriff, the detective was immediately placed on leave.
Good.
But it only took a week to uncover the extent of it.
Bro, think about it this way. He got so racist and so stalker-like that, like, he was placed on leave. Something that cops rarely ever get put on unless, even when they fucking...
Yes, you're absolutely right. Because they fucking have incredible union leaders that back them. And so they get away with fucking killing people all the time. All the fucking time. So we don't know what this guy has done yet, but we do know that he was stalking somebody who probably had nothing to do with the murder. He was fucking stalking her because she was black. We don't know yet. I mean, according to the title of this video, based on one of your clip channels, he was the person responsible, but we don't know. And the fact that he wouldn't follow up on a white lead, okay, bitch, let's go.
kill someone, okay? Even when they kill like an unarmed person fleeing from the back, that's the only time when they like, if there's public outcry, they put him on fucking paid leave. You know what I mean? The level of the level of malpractice.
Hassan, the dude that fucking fired a weapon at a 13-year-old in Anaheim was placed on paid leave. He was a get off my lawn cop in Anaheim. He worked for LAPD. This happened a few years back. Motherfucker fired at a 13-year-old. They don't care. They do not care about human life. They care about getting their union dues. That's it.
In this regard, got to a point where they were just like, bro, you are literally fucking up county resources. Okay, you gotta fucking chill out. Like we all, the sheriff was like, listen, we all love this Sandusky, Ohio. We love to do racism here. Okay, but you gotta do it piece by piece. You gotta do a little bit. It's like when the baklava comes in and you want to have fucking all the baklava. You can't have more than like 4 or 5 pieces. You got to save some. Got to save some racism for the rest of us. Okay?
Who the hell likes baklava? Come on, man.
If you eat all of it at once, like there's not going to be any left for anybody else. Stop.
It's gross.
You're doing too much. You're doing too much racism, dog. Please. Okay? Baklava on the mind? Yes. I mean, a little bit.
I guess.
Be honest, how many ate yesterday? 4. I ate 4 pieces of baklava.
Okay.
His malpractice. As a result, the detective was quickly let go from his position and was facing an increasing amount of legal charges.
Shut the fuck up. Former Sandusky County Sheriff Kyle Overmeyer will be released from prison on Monday. Wait, this is a different...
No, this is not the same dude.
This isn't the guy.
No. Well, did he put on weight?
Wait, this...
It might be.
Is that him?
It might be.
No, that's the boss.
No, he could have put on some weight.
Wait, hold on.
Vic, Kiona, Omar, and Kayri.
Bro, stop. You're spoiling. I didn't look at anything. I didn't look at anything.
Dude,
But I think the sheriff himself even got...
I think he put on like 20 pounds. Okay. It's probably the same person, but he looks completely different because he's put on a lot of weight. I think that's what happened. Okay, Hassan?
For the extent of his malpractice. As a result, the detective was quickly let go from his position and was facing an increasing amount of legal charges, which included misleading a public official and tampering with evidence.
Yeah.
O'Connell had broken the law that he vowed to protect and was eventually sentenced to 2 years in prison.
Only 2.
That's bullshit, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, what? Cops...
Oh,
No,
that's it.
okay, I gotta say something here, okay?
Okay.
No, that doesn't sit right with me.
No.
First of all, cops never go to fucking jail for this kind of shit. That is insane. Let alone 2 years. Are you insane? There's got to be some other additional reasons for why this happened, the way that it happened. Because no fucking shot, bro. Cops literally plant shit openly and very publicly.
I know, but he was really bad at it, right? So if, like, they're expecting that if their cops are going to try and do this kind of bullshit, that they're going to get away with it. And this motherfucker was so fucking blatant about what he was doing that he was fucking harassing somebody to the point where she was actually able to sue him. You know? Like, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing as just, oh, I happen to find this gun. Ooh, I happen to find your DNA on the property after I took your blood sample. It's not the same thing, right? This is different. Like, this guy was so fucking sloppy. This guy was so sloppy, Hassan.
They plant evidence. And then, like, the Department of Justice will come in.
Oh my God, you sound
and
so
like
sad.
actually take a look at the books, and they will find people. They will literally find cops that have opened.
You sound so sad, Hassan. You sound so sad. This is the life that we deal with. Okay? This is what we're fighting for. This is what we deal with. Okay? This is reality. You're like, oh God, like 2 years. That's kind of surprising, but at the same time, it's not enough. You're right. It's not enough. And it is surprising, because usually these motherfuckers get off.
Only fucking planted evidence. And it doesn't matter. Like, it still doesn't matter. Those guys still don't go to fucking jail. Okay? Maybe they'll be let go, and then maybe a couple years later, that cop will pop up somewhere else, at another precinct or whatever.
Yeah.
No, this guy probably wasn't. Even when they get caught on camera, they don't get fucking thrown in jail. They have to do something extraordinary to go to jail. The Baltimore police are a perfect example of that. Exactly. It's not just...
Isn't that hilarious, too, that, like, the most Republican fascist pieces of shit actually have the strongest unions? Isn't that hilarious? They have the most protection over... They can literally just go to another agency. It doesn't even fucking matter. They can kill people. Doesn't fucking matter.
That they were... Those Baltimore cops didn't go to fucking jail or didn't go to prison because they were planting drugs and planting guns on suspects and shit like that. They did it over and over again while also stealing money from people. They also did overtime fraud. Like, you have to... Okay, you have to... It's similar to what I always say about, like, if you steal from the poor, you become wealthy. If you steal from the wealthy, you go to jail. It's kind of similar to that. Cops don't go... cops don't face any serious punishments for doing cop shit, like planting evidence or, being racist or whatever. They get in trouble if they are misusing department resources and misusing department funds. Okay? Like, that is the, and they're doing it with like wanton disregard. You know what I mean? Something like that. Yeah. Overtime fraud was the biggest part of the reason why the Baltimore Police Department actually took action against these cops. That's what it was. Because they were just like aggressively fucking taking money from the overtime funds. Like they were aggressively billing overtime.
I'm trying to get my charger working.
Police overtime fraud just proves they're the hardest working people in our society. That's why they're heroes. Yeah, exactly. He got in trouble for wasting the DA's time knowing the DNA wouldn't match up. I think that could be the reason. You know what I mean? That could probably be the reason. He could be a fucking top of the hour dodger. You know, that's a big crime. At the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, you know, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 for free with a Twitch Prime. You remember the Asian bodybuilder cop who went around sexually assaulting women? How they brought him in, and they were still buddy saying, "Ah, it happens, man." Yo, that Asian bodybuilder cop situation was way more weird than the way we looked at it on YouTube videos, okay? There were a lot of fucking cops that were arrested for, like, pedophilia and sexual assault after that guy. I remember leaving that situation thinking he might have been considered a fucking fall guy for the whole thing.
Okay.
Anyway, don't be a fall guy to the top of the hour, though.
Right.
Like I said, if you subscribe or get gifted a sub, if you're lucky, you can avoid the top of the hour ad break. Yeah, Daniel Holtzclaw Heike got a lot of other dudes' crimes put on him. Yeah, that was a very weird fucking case, dude. Cat Named Dog, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Womick7, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Allowing 15 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Here's the 3-minute ad break now.
Although this would not be the end of the shocking corruption, seeing as how another scandal had just as quickly broken through the walls of this quiet and quaint little town. Sheriff Kyle Overmeyer, also working on Heather's case, had been caught stealing drugs from the drug take-back boxes in northwestern Ohio. Facing an ongoing opioid addiction, Kyle was sentenced to 4 years in prison in December of 2016. But during this time, he was able to sit down with authorities to give his side of the story on what happened with former Detective O'Connell.
We'll get into more on Sean about what he did, but a lot of stuff was secret squirrel with him, and he did his own thing, and I entrusted in him as a detective, and because you can't do it all, you can't be a detective and a sheriff and wear all the hats.
He was dead set on Keanu Bohr, and then he found out that Omar might have been out.
Was hiding out there. He was there that night supposedly, and there was a warrant for his arrest, and that's where it all unraveled, where he became obsessed.
Why is that?
I don't know.
See, now here's another thing I've been told.
Yeah.
That he had a personal vendetta against Keanu Bohr.
Kyle gives a brief rundown on how O'Connell helped to imprison Keona's ex-boyfriend, Julian, and why that might have placed the single mother at the top of his suspect list in Heather's case.
Now, in speaking to Heather's family members and Carmela Badillo, they all indicated that the 3 people that provided Heather her drugs were... And then was the other... Oh, there's only 3. Nobody ever mentioned Keanu Bohr.
Right.
So I don't know how he's getting in and going Keanu Bohr, and if he's making that up.
Right.
Correct?
Yes.
All the while, residents across the community were stumped when it came to who might have carried out such a gruesome crime. And some were inclined to leave their thoughts on the most popular social media platform, Facebook.
For Ohio.
One user wrote a post insinuating that Carmela, Heather's ex-girlfriend, may actually be the one that authorities were looking for. The sad thing about this is just a few days after it happened, my brother worked with a guy who no longer works there with him, but he stopped over and told me his sister and Heather had a thing, and that she might have had something to do with it. I called O'Connell to report what I was told at the time, but nothing was done. Was Heather's ex-girlfriend the perpetrator who'd been hiding in plain sight? Or was there someone else sneakily going unnoticed? Still,
I mean, both of those, I don't know, right? I don't know the details, because unfortunately we only know whatever this fucking dipshit uncovered. But, like, Like literally, there are key suspects in any murder that you immediately either clear or suspect of committing the fucking murder.
She's already been cleared.
It's the people closest to the victim. Okay? It's bananas that like you wouldn't even suspect like a former ex or anything like that. Not saying that like she did it or whatever, obviously,
well,
but
did she date this
you
guy?
know, if you're gonna play the stat game, which cops love doing or love claiming that they do, statistically speaking, it's always proximity.
Did she date the dude? I don't think she did.
The closest to the victim.
Others had their own opinions. One person even stated that he knew more about the situation than most. A lot of time and dedication was lost, and I have proof. I want it done right. I had to bring up a perfected parliament to do what I did and walk it through like a gentleman.
Right. Okay.
Most eerie of all, this person was well aware that corruption was lurking.
The fuck?
I trust very few when the problem goes all the way to the top. In addition to the online chatter, others took their concerns directly to authorities. One account in particular stood out. Michael Abdu, a resident of Fremont, Ohio, was in a frantic rush to give a statement on an alleged conversation that had taken place at a nearby bar.
Fremont Police, do you have an emergency?
Hi, I'll be over there in about 10 minutes to give you information about the woman that was murdered over there in Quiet.
Michael claims that he met 3 men at the local bar, where one had allegedly explained to him that he ordered the hit on Heather.
Wow.
Michael refers to this man as Mississippi. 2 other gentlemen had also been present, but he didn't know their names.
This is a new powerful natural colon cleansing supplement that's helping men and women.
God damn. God
Absolutely. What the fuck is happening in like small ass bumfuck Sandusky, Ohio, man?
I don't know, dude.
What is going on, dude? Is it because like these people are fucking really bored? Yeah, this is some Fargo shit, dude.
I know I'm about ready to go to bed. I can't.
Are they just like bored? So they're like making stuff up? Like what the fuck? Who? What?
They informed me how they killed her in the residence and took her body and put it in the trunk of the car. He said if you got any family, I suggest you do the right thing. I said, so we were talking about. And then he said, I was a person that took care of the white girl over in Clyde. The black man said this.
What?
Write that down, black man. Finally, we got a different black guy.
Okay.
And I said to him, what are you talking about? What do you mean you took care of the white girl over in Clyde? He said,
What?
I said to the
What the hell?
Bro, I can't hear.
dudes inside, we took care of business. So I went and asked the 2 guys inside, hey, the dude said you guys took, I said Mississippi said you guys took care of those 2, or took care of the girl over there in Clyde. He said, yeah, we gave that what she deserved. The one dude turned to the other guy and said, shut the fuck up.
Why would anybody walk up to a random bald guy in a fucking bar and be like, hey, by the way, we did a gruesome murder, just letting you know. And it was like a facilitated hit on a fucking single mom. Like just some random white lady, you know what I mean? Like, that would never happen.
I don't.
The other one then said, yeah, it's cool. Whatever you gotta say, I'm cool with. I'm not, gonna go nowhere.
Michael, clearly stunned by the recent encounter, provided a new lead for the authorities. However, just as quickly, police were able to conclude that they'd reached a dead end yet again, due to the fact that his story couldn't be corroborated by other patrons of the bar.
Right.
It was clear that from the onset of Heather's case, each and every day had been afflicted by injustice. Fortunately, that wouldn't last for long. The day had finally come where a new sheriff was in town, determined to track down the real killer with no time to waste.
Oh boy.
Sheriff Chris
Here
Hilton
we
quickly
go.
dismissed the previous suspects, along
For the record, clearance rates are abysmal in this country across the board. But I suspect, like, in small towns like this is even fucking worse, I guess. Like, what the hell's going on? It's been like a year at this point since the murder took place. Like, do they not have a lot of other murders going on? Or do they also are just, like, this bad at covering all the other murders, too?
Yeah, but also, Hassan, you gotta realize this is a white chick, right? So, I mean, this is this is proof positive that we're in danger too. We are a marginalized community. All right, this is part 2. I'll go on to part 3 in a second here. It's a long